I'm proud to call Tabernacle Township home. It's been an absolute pleasure raising my family here. As a member of the Tabernacle Township Board of Education, my concern isn't just for my own children. I think about all the children of the district, the families, and also the dedicated staff members of the school. I want to see our community continue to grow so that future generations can also be proud to call the township home. That's why we're pursuing a bond referendum. On Tuesday, November 8th, to secure the future of our township and our schools, we're asking our neighbors to consider a question on the general election ballot that would allow the district to borrow funds through the sale of bonds, and those bonds would finance large-scale improvements to upgrade, and most important, to me at least, to enhance safety and security measures at our two schools.
After having our state funding slashed nearly in half, bond borrowing is a way for our district to tap into a different line of state funding, and Tabernacle either uses it or loses it. This is money Tabernacle residents have already paid through state taxes, which goes into a special pot of money to pay for projects tied to educational needs. While taxpayers across the state pay into this fund, money from it can only be shared with districts where voters approve a bond referendum. If Tabernacle voters approve the November 8th referendum, this specific kind of state funding would cover 34 to 40% of the project costs.
These funds would make our schools safer. My students and my coworkers deserve to feel safe when we walk into school every day. Important safety and security updates would be made to every classroom in both schools. Building-wide intruder alarm systems would also be upgraded. That would allow all of us to go into lockdown mode more quickly and effectively in the case of a dangerous situation. Also, new security systems would include better cameras to capture clearer video across more areas. A new sophisticated fire alarm system would also be installed at both schools, which would decrease critical response time by pinpointing where the exact issue is in the building.
A voter-approved bond referendum also allows for critical maintenance and the replacement of vital operating systems. Some of those are no longer cost efficient and are at risk of being really expensive repairs. These maintenance needs cannot be put off. Upgrades to roofing, heating and air conditioning controls, and electrical systems would improve cost efficiency, safety, and air quality. While our buildings are well maintained, some vital systems are past their life expectancy. And preventive replacement is better than a repair-as-we-go strategy. Bond borrowing is fiscally responsible, and it's a way to make these necessary improvements by generating upfront funding so we can get to the work. It also will allow us to spread out the costs of the projects over time, just like how a homeowner would use a home equity loan to make their home improvements. Voter approval on November 8th also means our buildings will be more ADA accessible to students, staff, and our visitors. Again, our students and staff deserve to have the accommodations for their success.
Every project included in this bond referendum is eligible for 34 to 40% of state funding, making it a fiscally responsible way to make these necessary improvements to our schools. We regularly look for ways to save taxpayers money in Tabernacle. In fact, we recently secured a $3.4 billion grant to provide a new, more efficient HVAC to a large portion of our district. The upgrades proposed in this referendum would complement that money and be another smart strategy for bringing state money to Tabernacle. If voters approve the November 8th bond referendum, the owner of a home assessed at Tabernacle Township's average would see an initial increase before tax decrease to less than what they are paying now. This is because the old debt and the new debt will briefly overlap. But once that old debt is paid off, residents will be paying $17 a year less than they are now.
All Tabernacle residents would benefit from these proposed school improvements. Our children would benefit from a safer, more secure school. They would also breathe easier with the new HVAC units with better filtration systems. Taxpayers would benefit from a more energy efficient buildings and a tax rate that would decrease as soon as the old debt is paid off. The community benefits when home values increase, and the investment in our schools is an investment in our community. So we ask you, please vote.
Please vote.
Please vote.
When you cast your ballot this November, we want you to remember that your vote matters. Every vote counts when it comes to our local community, and we encourage you to be part of the process.
Please vote.